around a bit earlier on today. This is what the military call a logistics or a supply vehicle. This particular vehicle, it was actually originally made again back in the 1960s for the American Army, but it was very reliable, very good, and lots of armies around the world bought it and still use it. And this particular one was used by the British Army in the First Gulf War. We used them for putting missiles in the back to resupply our anti-aircraft, our Rapier air defence batteries out in the Gulf War. And when they came out of service with the British Army, the Army were kind enough to give us a few of these vehicles, and we've actually put bus seats in the back of this one. And if you fancy seeing what it's like bouncing around on a track vehicle, it'll be running around this track for the rest of the afternoon, and you can get a ride from over in the far corner there. Health and safety, I'm afraid to say, you've got to be over at least to go on it. Now, as a logistics or supply vehicle, you might think, well, why don't they just use all their trucks as usual? But when you think of tanks going forward across a battlefield, they're going to need supplies taken up to them, and your normal trucks might not be able to get there. If they've got chewed up ground, mud like this, the trucks might get stuck. And tanks need an awful lot of supplies to keep them going. To give you an indication, one lap of this track for one of our big heavy main battle tanks can be up to a gallon of fuel. So that's an awful lot of fuel they're going to get through to keep them going. And then they're going to need ammunition, they're going to need food, they quite often need spare parts to keep the tanks going, because they're certainly not as reliable as your car is. They need lots of work on them to keep them going all the time. And that's why you need a vehicle like this. This is really like a Ford Transit on tracks. It's for getting those supplies up there and forward quickly. Drivers in the front, there's an armoured cab there, flatbed on the back for putting all the supplies in. And sometimes they mount a machine gun on the top of it just for a bit of protection. But really, again, you shouldn't be doing any fighting in this vehicle. You're just there for getting the supplies around the place. The driver, by the way, in this vehicle, like most track vehicles, he doesn't have a steering wheel. He has two sticks in front of him. If he wants to turn left, he pulls back on the left-hand stick. It brakes the track on the left-hand side, in other words, slows it down. The other side keeps going, and it pushes the tank round the corner. So if you want to turn right, you pull back on the right-hand stick. Left, you pull back on the left-hand stick. If you want to come to a dead halt, you pull back on both sticks together. That should stop you. Now, it sounds a very simple system. It has to be, because soldiers have to use it in stressful conditions. The downside, though, is if you keep pulling back on your brakes all the time, your brakes wear out very, very quickly. And that's why when you watch these track vehicles going around our arena here, they don't go in a nice, gentle, smooth arc. They tend to go around the arena like the edge of a 52 piece. A straight line, pull on the stick, change the angle of the vehicle, and then another straight line, another pull on the stick. And that means that the brakes don't get too hot and the vehicle lasts an awful lot longer. Now, supply and logistic vehicles, we tend not to think they're quite as interesting as tanks, but if you don't have your supplies, don't forget your tank's not going anywhere. And it's one of the reasons the British Army hasn't taken Challenger 2, the big tank we have in service, out to Afghanistan. One reason is the terrain out there doesn't really suit tanks. The other reason is simple logistics. Supplying a tank so many thousands of miles away is really, really hard work. That's one of the reasons we decided to use other lighter vehicles instead of big tanks and big tanks.
Following about in the walk from the wood today.
Now, as our logistics vehicle, the M548